The Vera Tame Show. The Vera Tame Show. The Vera Tame Show. The Vera Tame Show. Let's talk about it. 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 On the Vera Time Show. Let's talk about it. Yeah.
Hello. First, let me thank you all for the many, many, many birthday wishes, both on Facebook and also on LinkedIn and TikTok. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. I am so excited about my guest tonight. This is a topic that everyone needs to listen to. We're going to be talking about the product sugar and the impact that sugar has on our lives. So let me pull up my friend, Mariah Cruz. How are you today?
Hello there, Vera. It's so good to be here with you and your audience. I'm just thrilled. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, I'm excited for you being here, and let me just tell the audience a little bit about Mariah Cruz. She is a mindset and healthy habits coach. She works mostly with women 45 and over who want to more consistently live happier and healthier lives by trading their current self destructive tendencies for powerful, self sustaining, life giving super habits. Her current emphasis is on helping people kick the sugar habit through her signature program, Freedom, Freedom from Sugar, Tame the Beast. Mar- Mariah helps women understand their super cravings, set goals for reducing and eliminating sugar in their diets, and adopt healthy self care habits that replace destructive eating behaviors once and for all. She recommends freedom from sugar for anyone who's struggling with problems such as diabetes, cancer, poor dental health, problem skin, anxiety, excessive stress, and or the inability to remain focused and be productive. Mariah's drawing on 40 years training and experience in the wellness field, where she has worked with over 3,000 individual clients as a therapeutic body worker, movement educator, mindset and healthy habits coach, Veldencross and Bones for life practitioner and meditator. I'm sorry. She has also spent 7 years helping service providers grow their small businesses and nonprofits by serving as a marketing coach and author of 2 books, Life Force Marketing 10 Steps to a Healthier Small Business, and the ebook 51 Ways to Shine Online. And we will give the link where you can learn more about Mariah Cruz. And right now, Mariah, I've talked long enough. I am going to give you the floor and let you share your journey with our audience.
Thank you, Vera. It's always so odd to hear another person talk about you, just racking up your accomplishments and telling your biography.
Yes,
Thank you for doing so very enthusiastically.
you're welcome.
I grew up in rural Kentucky, so I'm a Kentucky girl through and through. I was raised in a town of 1,000 people, and we referred to ourselves and believed that we were the sorghum capital of the world. If you don't know what sorghum is, it's a kind of syrup made from a kind of cane that's sort of like sugar cane, but it's sorghum cane. So I lived on the Ohio River. So I always believed that everyone lived on the river. And I didn't know till I was about 18 years old that many towns were not on a river. I just thought everybody had a river in their town. And it was just very, very small town Kentucky in the 50s and 60s, before there was a whole lot of television and before all the stuff that we have now. So we were pretty isolated. We lived in our own little world. And I had a great childhood in a way. We had our house was on the edge of the woods. And so uh, parents weren't afraid to let their kids go running. We all felt safe where we were. We didn't feel like there was danger lurking where we lived. I lived across the road from a cattle farm, and most mornings there'd be a flock of guinea hens walking through my backyard. But then we could go into our backyard and just keep right on going into the woods, and we would hike in the woods, and we could hike about 10 minutes from my house and be at a waterfall, and we thought it was our waterfall. And
Wow.
I grew up in a house with 5 children and a mother and father. And so there were lots of kids, and there were lots of kids around where we lived. And there weren't very many fences. You just kind of crossed over into people's yards. And um, when I guess I was around 7 years old, I got my first bicycle, and it was green. And after that, I could get on my bicycle and go anywhere. And from a very young age, I had a desire to go. I always wanted to go somewhere, see something new, experience something new. I'm still the same way. I just liked to have new experiences. So being on your show is fun for me on that level too. Uh, so
Thank
there were good things and bad things about growing up in a big family, and um, I think in a way I felt like a fish out of water in the town I grew up in. But there was so much good that came out of it, and so I'm grateful for my upbringing.
It sounds like a beautiful place, actually, with the brook and the trees and the open space. It just
Mhm.
sounds very peaceful and serene.
Mm.
So let me ask you, what drove you to be involved in the work that you're involved in? And I know you and I met. Let me just give our audience some background.
Okay.
I lived in Kentucky for 7 years. And in 2017, between 16 and 17, I met Mariah. And I remember going to her house. She does these beautiful cards. And she would have a group come and we just came together and fellowship. Remember that? That
It's
was
fun.
that was so beautiful, and I met so many beautiful women, and we just built a bond. And anyway, we had been out of contact for a while, and she hit me up on Facebook, and I'm so glad she did. And she's doing some wonderful things that are so necessary now. In addition to her cards. And before we get into our topic of sugar and the impact of sugar, I want you to share with our audience some of your
Okay.
cards and the work that you've done with them.
Okay. So at a certain point, I decided I wanted to try something new and that I'd never done before. And I really did not think of myself as having any particular visual art ability. But I started playing around with collages and small paintings. And eventually they became quite lovely. And I fell in love with them. And so I'll show just a few of them. I've designed about 100 cards. If you excuse me, am on the tail end of getting over COVID. So I might have to stop and cough or take a drink of water at some point. Uh,
Thank
this
you
is
for being here.
this is the most talking I've done for a while. So here's one of my cards. I have a series of cards called the love cards, and this one they're actually called Love is in the Air. So, and this is a collage made from papers from around the world. I buy these papers from Mulberry Paper Company that you can buy them online. Beautiful papers from everywhere in the world. And here's another love card, another Love is in the Air card. This one's a little more radical. It's got some rice paper and various. This one is called watermelon. It's simpler than the others. I really actually love it because I love watermelon and I like
I do
taking green.
too.
Um, this one is called sea oats, and it's
Oh, wow.
inspired by something that you might see if you go to the Carolina coast. You've probably all seen that.
Beautiful.
This one is based on a photograph, and I actually took it in Alabama when I was there during COVID, when COVID was raging through the country. I wanted to get away from home, and I had a friend who had a mobile home that she wasn't staying in, so I went and stayed down there for 2 weeks. And this is a
Wow.
photograph off the pier near her home,
That
Alabama.
is beautiful.
And this is one of my favorites. It's called Autumn Poinsettia. So it's kind of based on the idea of a poinsettia, but obviously not the usual colors. I do have a whole line of unique greeting cards,
Yes.
and I mean, include holiday cards like Christmas, etc. And all of those can actually be found on my website. There's a shop on there.
Okay, and let me pull up your website right quick for people to check out. Now, this particular link is giving the free sugar information. Um, the other website, let me, because I,
If it's the same website, so if they
yes,
just go to the first part, which says lifeforcemarketing.com, that's the whole website address. And
yes,
the free sugar info, that's just the one page on the website that focuses on my new program, because it's a pretty new program and I haven't created a whole website for it yet.
yes.
I
Oh,
use my Life Force marketing site to sell cards and to tell people about my marketing services and the books that I've written that are marketing books, and now most recently to talk about the Freedom from Sugar program.
and let's talk about that because
Okay.
I'm sure that I have audience listening that want to know about sugar and the
Okay.
impact that it has. And I know that you have some information to share
I do.
about. So let me give you the floor again. And as you're talking about sugar, I'm going to be putting the information in the chat.
Okay. So first of all, let me say that I would like to tell you why I ended up at Freedom from Sugar. Last year, I was diagnosed with endometrial cancer, and I was very fortunate. It was stage one. I had my treatments were not terribly difficult. They've been over for almost a year and a half now, and so far, still no signs of cancer. And I've always been interested in holistic health and healthy eating and healthy life practices because have been a wellness practitioner for over 40 years. As Vera mentioned earlier, I've worked with thousands of people individually, but that I was focusing more on movement education and helping people with pain and or to improve their posture or to do things that had to do with movement. And now I've moved into this arena because after cancer, I realized that I don't ever want to have that again. And I read several intense books about the causes of cancer, and it's by no means a settled issue. But there's no doubt in my mind that in order to get well from anything, I realized that one thing that I could do that would change every system in my body was to stop eating sugar. And I didn't think I could because I love sugar. I love dessert of every kind you could imagine. I'd like to have dessert every day. I'd like to have dessert twice a day. And lots of days I did. And so it wasn't like, oh, that'll be easy. I'll give up sugar. I was certain I could not do it. I didn't think I could do it at all. But I was pretty motivated. And I decided I would figure out a way using my long time experience at helping clients change their habits of how they're living their life. Maybe I can do that, apply that to myself and help myself get off sugar. And it worked. And I got off sugar. And I don't eat added sugar anymore. And um, and it wasn't as difficult as I thought it would be. So then I started thinking, this is how I can help other people. And so I want to put it in that context before I read you just an example of some of the things that sugar does to the body that is not good.
Before you start,
Okay.
let me ask, because I didn't know that you had battled cancer.
Yep.
And you're saying, do you feel that as a result of cutting sugar out of your diet? Now we know that sugar's in everything, but when we intentionally cut it out of our diets, that helped you overcome cancer?
I couldn't say that. I don't know that for sure. There's some people, some researchers believe that sugar is the killer as far as cancer. It's like the thing that cancer feeds on. And some researchers don't think that. It's not, that's what I meant when I said it's not a settled matter. There are many different opinions in the scientific community about the causes of cancer. But one thing I've noticed since I've gotten off of sugar is that I have more energy. I sleep so much sounder. Sleep was kind of a problem for me before that. And my skin is prettier, and I'm able more to stay focused mentally. I'm a little bit of an ADHD type person, so I've struggled with being able to focus and having mental fog a lot of my life, and I'm much more able to stay clear and make plans and make decisions. And so I think my brain is operating better. I know that my all my lab numbers are better. So that indicates to me that my body is a lot happier. And
Yes.
so, as far as playing the game of roulette with cancer, we have some things we can control and some things we can't control. But one of the things we can control is we can stop eating sugar, or we can almost stop eating sugar. Even reducing sugar is better than doing nothing about it. So I can't say for sure that sugar is going to save me from having cancer again, or that it has already done so. That would be impossible for me to state
Hmm.
with any real honesty. I feel like it gives me my best chance of not getting sick again. And if you've been really sick, you just don't want it to happen again, no matter whether it's cancer or something else. Uh, so
Yes.
so
Yes.
when it comes to wellness and health and wellness, a lot of times we're sort of indoctrinated to think that there are things that are sure thing. Like, for instance, if you have a headache, you take an aspirin or an ibuprofen or whatever your over the counter painkiller of choice is, your headache's probably going to go away pretty quickly. In 30 minutes, you'll feel better. So we know that there's that kind of direct relationship, but cause and effect. If I take the aspirin, the headache will go away. But not everything in health is like that. In fact, most things aren't. We can say, and we know for sure, that if you exercise regularly, you decrease your chances of having all kinds of physical problems and even mental problems. That's been shown through research again and again and again. But yet, an individual person cannot say for sure, because I work out every day, I'll never have, um, I'll never have cancer. So in other words, I think what we need to all do, and what I try to do, is inform ourselves what will give us the best chance of living a long, healthy, happy life, and
Yes.
then pursue that, go down that path. And
Yes.
that's the best we can do.
Yes. And so let's get on with some of those.
You want to hear the bad news part now?
Yes, let's hear the bad news first. Let's hear the bad news. I'm gonna put you up front, and then I'm gonna type as you're sharing.
All right. So I want to tell y'all that this comes from a list of 146 reasons why you should avoid sugar. Obviously, I'm not going to read 146 reasons to you right now. I'm just going to pick a few. And this was compiled by a nurse. And this list has become quite famous. It's circulated around the internet. And I'm grateful to her for the work she did to put that together. So here's just a few of the things that sugar can do to the body This is a big one. Sugar can suppress the immune system. So that means you're actually making it harder for your body to heal, to fight off things that it wants to fight off, invaders, and to respond correctly to things that need to be healed. Your body's not going to be able to heal as well if you've got a suppressed immune system. Sugar can cause, this is huge for me, and I can verify that I feel different in this way now. Sugar can cause hyperactivity, anxiety, difficulty concentrating, and crankiness in children. Um,
You know what? Let's stop there for a minute.
okay,
Let's talk about that.
okay.
Let's talk about that. Repeat what you just said.
Sugar contributes, can cause hyperactivity, anxiety, difficulty concentrating, and crankiness. I believe that's true for adults, but also for children. So, and we know that we've got a lot of our children that are challenged with
Yes.
hyperactivity and anxiety.
Yes.
Now,
And I am convinced that if we decrease the amount of sugar that children are ingesting,
oh,
sugar in their pops, in their
oh,
drinks, in their coffee, in
oh,
their candy, I'm telling you, I believe that some of the behaviors that we're
mhm.
seeing in
Yes,
our children will be less.
I think it's well established. I completely agree with you, and I think the science backs that up. You know, it's another thing to convert the culture to giving up things that it's become. I mean, even when kids can buy soda pop in the school, no, that's just, well, okay, I have my opinions on this subject, and they're like your opinions. Here's another one. Um, Sugar contributes to the reduction in defense against bacterial infection. So, in other words, if you get a bacterial infection, your body's not as able to fight it off. Um, sugar just Sugar also causes a lot. This is surprising, I think. Sugar causes a loss of tissue elasticity and function. So by tissue, they're talking about muscles, for instance. Muscles are tissues. The more sugar that you eat, the more elasticity you lose. That pertains to skin elasticity, and it pertains to other kinds of tissues in the body, such as muscles. Um, wow. Let me find maybe two more really good ones. Here's this one's so important. Sugar raises the level of changes the level of neurotransmitters. In other words, it has an impact on our mood. And that's one thing that if you dramatically reduce or give up sugar, you'll notice sometimes people are more moody at first for a few days or a week or so. People respond differently to getting off sugar initially. Um, but but in the long run, and not the very long run, fairly soon, you'll notice that your mood is more stable. If you tend to have mood swings, they might be much less dramatic, or they might go away altogether. It depends on your system, but sugar can cause changes related to ulcers. Sugar can contribute to arthritis and asthma and gallstones and heart disease
Woo!
and hemorrhoids and varicose veins. I've said enough. Um, the point has
Oh
been
my,
made.
oh my God.
No,
The
it's
thing
shocking,
is, the
shocking.
thing is, almost any condition that is chronic
Mhm.
and or even acute can be caused by sugar. Let's define what we mean by chronic and acute.
Mhm.
And I know you were a nurse, so
Oh no, I was never a nurse. No,
I'm
I'm a
sorry.
therapist. No, I'm a therapeutic
Oh,
body worker.
okay, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
And
My
don't
bad.
that's
Okay.
okay.
Okay, but anyway, with chronic, when you have a chronic condition, it is constant.
It
It
means it's been
is
going on for a long time. It's persisting, exactly what you're saying. Yes.
absolutely. Absolutely. Arthritis is an example of that.
High blood
And
pressure and
high
diabetes
blood
are
pressure,
examples.
diabetes,
Mhm.
all those things, chronic illnesses, acute illnesses are illnesses that you have symptoms and pain and all that kind of stuff, and then they go away, but they come back again.
Like COVID. Um,
Like,
when you get sick with COVID, for most people, that is acute. It comes, you take care of it, it goes away. There are some people that have long COVID, and I don't know whether they would refer to that as chronic. I would say they would. But we do know that sugar, excessive sugar especially, does contribute to a lot of chronic conditions. So here's the thing. We can there's hundreds of things we could do to improve our make ourselves have a more healthy lifestyle. And I'm a huge proponent of selecting like a mixture of habits that are things that you could stick with, that are part of a plan. So it's not arbitrary. It's you've got a strategy. I've got this particular health problem. Let's say I'm diabetic. I'm going to improve my blood sugar numbers in the next year, and here's how I'm going to do it. Then and that might involve things like moving more, not just how you eat. But but the idea is that sugar is the one thing that we can do that will help everything else. It's what I refer to as a super habit. That is not eating it. Saying no to sugar again and again is a super habit because it affects so many other things. There's not that many things that affect everything in the body positively. Exercise is one, if it's the right kind of exercise, and drinking water is one. Sleep
yes,
is one. But there's not that many super habits. You can count them on two hands. But eliminating or dramatically reducing sugar is a super habit.
when I found out that sugar was poison,
Mhm.
I immediately removed it
Oh,
as a staple in my home.
wow.
Raw sugar or honey is what I use.
Hmm.
And the amount of sugar that is in pop, soda,
Mm.
tea that you buy from like McDonald's or someplace else, that's enough to kill you if you're drinking it every single day. And we look at colas
Hmm.
and the amount of sugar, but not only the fact that there's sugar in colas, but the dark color has a cancer causing agent in it. We need to be careful of the foods we eat.
The
And
truth
then
is that there's nothing, when we're ingesting something and it has no nutritional value at all, and rather than having nutritional value, it actually puts strain on our body to process it, then that's not eating. That's not drinking. That's suicide. We're not taught this. And so my saying this is not to make anybody feel bad about themselves and the decisions they've made so far. Listen, we live in a culture where the food industry has plied us with lots and lots of food that should not be on the grocery counter or shelf at all. And
and we
we've
got a
come to
comment.
depend on that food.
Yes, we've got a comment from one of our guests. He says, "What she says is true. Stay away from pop.
Thank
People
you,
don't
Wesley.
understand." And thank you very much, Wesley, for commenting. Your comments are valued and appreciated. Thank you.
Wesley is commenting from West Virginia. Thank you, Wesley, for being on there with us.
Thank you. And this sugar issue, and I feel very fortunate that in our family, we didn't eat a lot of sweets. On Sundays, my mother, we always have our dessert and our cakes, but there were times when cake would stale in our, because after a week we didn't eat it. Not
Mhm.
that it wasn't good, because my mother was a great cook, but we weren't real heavy on eating sweets. And I thank God for that. That
Mhm.
was across the board for me, both my sisters and my brother. We're not big sweet eaters. And I thank God for that. Um,
You should. That is something to be grateful for.
and so we just want you to know sugar is not good. Now, I do have a couple of commercials that I need to play. So
Okay.
let me pause for the cause and do that right quick. We'll be right back.
Hallelujah.
Hey there, Jason McNamara here, and I'm about to drop something truly game-changing your way. Are you tired of the same old 9-to-5 grind, feeling stuck in obtaining the life you deserve and craving something more? Well, listen up, because I've got something you will not want to miss. Introducing the No More 9-to-5 Club Professional Membership, your ticket to freedom and success in the entrepreneurial world. With our professional membership, you'll get access to weekly coaching sessions, pre-recorded trainings, and a vibrant community of fellow game changers. You get access to technology that will allow you to automate passive income streams, as well as unlock all of our expert-led trainings in the back office so you know where to go for good advice when you need it. You will also use the club to build up a residual income stream with a 2-tier 33% affiliate commission unlocked at this level, allowing you to help people help themselves while generating a residual passive income stream for yourself. And here's the kicker. For a limited time, you can unlock all of this just for a $1.11 donation to our club foundation.
I like this one.
Your first month is on us. So what's holding you back? Click the link below, make your donation, and let's start building the life and business of your dreams together. Here at the No More 9-to-5 Club, we're all about turning dreams into reality and smashing through those glass ceilings.
That's what I'm talking about, Jake.
Whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur or just starting out, we've got the tools and support you need to thrive and evolve. And don't forget to sign up for our bootcamp training. It's the perfect way to kickstart your journey and unlock even more perks. So what are you waiting for? Join the No More 9-to-5 Club today and let's make those dreams a reality. I can't wait to see you on the inside. You only get one now. Invest it in your better future. Let's make magic happen together.
No More 9 to 5. Let me tell you, No More 9 to 5 is a club that is designed to educate, promote, encourage one another from all over the world.
Mm.
It is a club that offers masterminds and various types of trainings, network opportunities, as well as looking at ways for residual income. If you have a 9 to 5, then it's a great place for you because it may help you to identify your purpose, your passion, and move forward. If you do not have a 9 to 5 and you do have a purpose, a passion, and a purpose, and you want to connect with like-minded people, then you want to join No More 9 to 5. And guess what? You can join it for $1.11 for the first month to get a feel for what it's all about. And the contributions go towards veterans. So it not only is helping you, but we're also helping veterans in our nation. So check out No More 9 to 5. Go to bit.ly/no more, the number 9, the number 2, the number 5, VT. Check it out. All right. Now back to us. Okay. Now, I was looking at your website, and one of the things we talked about the various deadly effects that eating sugar has on your body. But one of the things, and this also says when you eat sugar almost every day, even though you know it's not good for you, you eat it anyway. Let's talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about that.
Let's
So,
do.
what constitutes the change? Talk about that.
Well, I think it's a very complicated topic. Behavior is what we're talking about. What is it that causes people to um, resist behaviors that they know are positive for them? And I, I think what I'd like to do is talk about how we can escape that trap,
Yes.
because most of us have some experience even if we're strong-willed people, or most of us are strong-willed in some area and not in another. And I don't think that it's helpful or useful to be down on ourselves for or be super critical of ourselves because we haven't been able to organize the very best habits that we'd like to. I'm a big believer in self-compassion. Um, be compassionate to ourselves and just learn a way to work around the difficulty of changing habits. Most of us we've got a lot of things that are habits. We do them every day. We don't stop and think about it. We get up in the morning, we brush our teeth, we do this, we do that. We don't stop and say, oh, I've got to be sure and brush my teeth today. We brush our teeth. It doesn't even take any thought. That's really what a habit is. And so there is actually there's a lot of science behind how we can turn something into a habit that currently is not a habit. And if we think about just modifying our habits and building our willpower rather than thinking, oh, I don't have enough willpower, I couldn't possibly ever do that. There's also science behind how we can strengthen our willpower. And that's the things that I like to teach people: how to strengthen your willpower step by step, one little thing at a time, and how to build new habits one step at a time so that you get success early on and you feel good about yourself. And the better you feel about yourself, the easier it is to do the right thing. Um, yeah. Does that help?
Yes. Well, can you give us a couple examples that they might be able to take away
Yes.
from? Okay.
Yes. Okay. Um, there's a very profound teacher named Joe Dispenza. He's on. He's very visible online, and he's doing a lot of cutting edge research on what allows people to change, and uh, he is a proponent of using meditation as a means of changing behavior. And he's done enough research to show that, for instance, people that meditate in a certain way over a period of time, it will affect their, uh, when they go into meditation, they can immediately reflect, change their EEG and their heart rate and lots of other things. Most of people know that. But most people don't know that meditation as a daily practice, even if it's just 10 minutes, begins to teach the brain how to calm down and how to focus. And so meditation is one of the things that I teach people how to do as a part of a daily practice where in the morning or in the evening or both or at some other point during the day, you set aside 5 minutes or 10 minutes and you do a very simple, easy meditation technique. So that's something I would suggest to your audience if there's hundreds of different kinds of meditation. But it doesn't have to be complex. And so I can see you want to say something.
I
Right.
do.
Okay.
I do.
Okay.
I want to talk about meditation for a minute because, as an example, meditation could be one word that you say over and over and over again, or it can be an affirmation that you say over and over and over again,
Yes, it
and you
could.
just focus on that.
Yes, it could.
That's a form of meditation.
That's
Um,
true.
and so,
Meditate. The more standard and probably most widely known meditation in the world is watching your breath. But it doesn't matter what you watch. It's just like the point you're making. You could use a word. Some people stare at a candle flame. Some people repeat a word or an affirmation. Some people just look at something on the wall or a piece of art. Some people, but the most common, the oldest kind of ancient form of meditation is just noticing your breath. And it's not that noticing your breath is inherently magical. It's that when you meditate, this is the essence of meditation. And so many people feel like they can't do it because their mind is too busy. That's kind of like misunderstanding meditation, because we're meditating because our minds are busy. We're not meditating because, oh, we don't have busy minds and thus it's easy to do. No, we're training our minds by focusing on anything. So let's say you're focusing on the feeling of your breath. I like to take my hand and put it on my chest, like kind of like this, just on my chest. And I like to feel the breath that way because it makes it very easy for me to feel. The other thing that does is it helps me to feel what my emotional state is. That's what I was going to say about Joe Dispenza. He likes to emphasize that it's good for us to understand what our emotional state is in a given moment, because most of the time we don't pay any attention to it. We're having all these emotions, but we're sort of, if we don't like the feeling of the emotion, we try to hurry up and get away from it. And for the most part, we're busy out doing stuff in the world, and we're really kind of overlooking our emotions altogether. So I like to put my hand on my chest. I do this the first thing I wake up. And I'm just the presence of my hand does have kind of a magic power, different than if someone else put their hand on my chest. And here's why. Because when I put my hand on my chest feels the pressure, the heat, the presence of my hand. That's one direction that the nervous impulses are traveling. At the same time, my hand feels my chest. So my chest is feeling my hand, and my hand is feeling my chest. My hand is feeling the texture of my blouse that I have on. It's feeling the little bit of ribs underneath the surface of my skin. So that is what I call a two-way street in the nervous system. And it's just powerful when you put your hand on your own self, on your own chest, and close your eyes and just breathe for a few minutes. It's amazing how good it feels. It's so soothing. It helps you to feel grounded in the moment, like this is the way to start a day. Not getting busy, not checking some messages on your, God forbid, checking the news, on your, wow, don't do that. And do something for yourself in that first moment. Put your hand on your chest, feel your breath coming in and out. And then at that point, if you're a praying person, that's a wonderful time to pray. It's also just a wonderful time to be grateful, to appreciate something, to appreciate the fact that you are breathing. And life is full of reasons to be grateful. So that's an example of a very simple practice that I teach everyone in my programs to do. And there's a lot more, but you wanted me to give you something that you take home.
Yes.
And that, if you do that tomorrow morning when you wake up, you'll notice it and ask yourself in that moment, what am I feeling? What am I feeling?
And as you're sharing this might be a great way to get past wanting to eat sugar.
It is, because the more that you get grounded in your own emotions and you're having a direct experience of your own body, then we're less susceptible to compulsive behavior. Because what is compulsive behavior? Compulsive means we're doing something without noticing that we're doing it. It's happening automatically. It's become a habit. So this is very much a part of my program, teaching people a really kind way to gradually move away from sugar by being so much kinder and more present with themselves, that the moment you're starting to reach for that candy bar or that Dr. Pepper or whatever it is, it starts to become a habit to notice, well, wait a minute, what am I feeling right now? And one of the interventions that I teach people to do, because we also have to have not just things we can do at the beginning or the end of the day, I call them tame the beast rituals, but also we have to have things we can do in the moment, in the middle of the day, when somebody says, hey, you want a piece of chocolate cake? And that's when we need an intervention. So I have a list of interventions that I teach people. And one of them is is the same technique. Put your hand on your chest. Take a moment, close your eyes, breathe in, and just ask yourself, well, do I really need to have that right now? And maybe the answer is yes. But maybe the answer is, well, no, not really. I don't actually, I feel pretty good. I don't really need that chocolate cake right now. And this is an evolving thing. Okay. I want to make it clear that we don't change overnight. And that's why this process is not about having a lot of willpower. It's about building a belief in yourself that comes through practice over time. And that's really where willpower comes from. It comes from our demonstrating to ourselves that we can make a good decision on our own behalf. And every time we do that, we just feel good about ourselves and it gets a little easier. And even the research on willpower shows that this is the case, that willpower develops from our actions that we take. It's not like just this it's not just this pool of something that we either have or don't have. That's not an accurate understanding of willpower. Willpower is something that emerges as we make good decisions on behalf of ourselves.
Beautiful. And I have another commercial,
Okay.
and I will be right back.
Mama Knows creates high quality products that are available to be used on multiple textures of hair. Her goal is to bridge the gap to stop people from having to use multiple products because of families with multiple hair types. Her products are currently being used on men, women, children of all ethnicities. Mama Knows products are available at www.mamaknowsproducts.com. That's www.mamaknowsproducts.com. You can also find her on Instagram at Mama Knows Products because, you know, Mama knows what you need.
Let me tell you a little bit about these products. First of all, they smell great. They are wonderful. And they're for all ethnicities and for boys, girls, men, and women. Shampoos, conditioners, moisturizers, hair serums, all kinds of things for healthy hair. You want to check out mamaknowsproducts.com. Why? Because Mama knows what you need. So check her out. Check her out. Yes. Okay. All right. Back to so I want to pull up your books because we got two books. I know. Let me pull them up, but I wanted to put Mama Knows in the chat, and let me go back to your books. Now we have one of your books is 50 Ways to Shine Online, a tip sheet. You want to tell us a little bit about this book?
Yes. For the last 7 years, I have been helping other wellness professionals build larger businesses by helping them understand how to do marketing. And so I wrote this as a way to help people know a little bit more about just how to be effective in the online world. And that's what this is, 51 Ways to Shine Online. It's an ebook and it's available on Amazon.
Awesome. And then you have Life Force Marketing, 10 steps to healthier small businesses.
This was a much bigger undertaking. This was a 225-page print book, which is filled with a lot of my art, and stories to try to make it friendly for people who don't necessarily really like marketing and would never read a textbook on marketing in a million years. But it's super practical, teaches people from the beginning, sort of the fundamentals of marketing. The reason I'd like to say something about it in this context where we're talking about freedom from sugar, as you know, it's clear that the things I'm talking about are mindset changes and body, mind and body. And the first three chapters of this book, although it's a marketing book, um, for most people who are starting a wellness business, they have a lot of mindset issues that they need to deal with. And so the first three chapters are about mindset. The first one, and these same things that I'm teaching in my book are things that I teach in the Freedom from Sugar program also. The first one is envisioning. I always say if you don't have a vision for where you're going, then you're like a ship without a destination. You're going to be
Yeah.
you're going to be wandering around a lot, uh, and that's not good for a ship.
No.
And so there's a. I'm really big on encouraging people to develop a clear vision of what is it that they want. Like nobody wants to get off sugar. They would get off sugar because what? They want to hear their doctor say, "Oh my gosh, you've totally turned your blood sugar around." Are they doing it because they want to? They think it'll help them lose some weight, and they want to be able to fit in this certain dress. Are they doing it because they want to? One of the reasons I do it is because I don't want when I go to back to my oncologist, I want her to say every time, "I don't see any sign of cancer here." You know, so I have a vision for what I want. That's what I want. And the freedom from sugar is just part of my path to getting there. The second mindset piece has to do with changing the story. I call it revising the story you tell yourself about yourself. And everybody knows by this time we've all become more sophisticated and we understand that we're constantly telling ourselves a story in the back of our mind. Many of those stories are not true, by the way. And so this is about looking into what are the stories I tell myself. Do I tell myself a story that, oh, I'm not strong enough to do anything to really correct the problems in my life? I tried before and failed. And so revising this story that we tell ourselves is very important to our success in anything. And then the third element of mindset that's in my book here is I call it remembering your resources. And remembering your resources is about thinking back to times when you did achieve things in your life, when you did something well, when you accomplished something, with something that you're proud of. And, you know, there's probably hundreds of things like that, but we mostly just forget about them. You know, we tend to be, there's something about the way the human mind is wired up that we tend to focus more on the negative than on the positive. So remembering your resources is a way of building up your self-esteem and you're falling back in love with yourself. And all of these things contribute to our ability to build more willpower and to make good decisions about what we want our habits, our life habits to be like, and then to actually fulfill those plans.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And so, even though this book is about marketing, these chapters will help, especially when dealing with trying to remove yourself from sugar or remove sugar from your life. So,
I
mindset,
think they'll help you with anything, actually, because
yes,
these are very fundamental mindset shifts that anybody who's trying to make any changes in their life has to deal with those things. The story you tell yourself about yourself, whether you have a vision for a better life or not, and your basic self-esteem that you're walking around with. That
yes.
no matter whether it's related to health or business success, it's really the same mind that we're dealing with here.
Right. And it all boils down to self-love.
Yes, yes, it does.
So whether trying to eliminate sugar or trying to build your business or
Yeah.
trying to just be a healthier, happier person, it all boils down to self-love.
You know, I've heard that my whole adult life, and in my own spiritual path, there's been a lot of I've heard a lot of great teachers teach about the importance of self love, and I heard those words 1,000 times, And I would always ask, well, but how do I get there? How do I get to loving myself? I understand I need to get there, but how do I get there? Because I was aware that I had a lot of negative self-talk and etc. And things from my past that held me back like everybody else has. And somewhere along the way, a few years ago, I actually just started doing more nice things for myself. I don't mean elaborate things. I mean things like putting lotion on my legs in the winter so my skin would not feel so dry, or giving myself a nap when I'm tired. And I started doing those things and thinking about, this is a gift I'm giving to myself. And what happened is I started feeling what it is like to love myself. And now I can almost always find my way to that feeling of loving myself, and it's become more of a practice.
Yes.
It's more habitual. So I understand that there's people who might be listening for whom the idea of self-love just sounds abstract, but it isn't. It's very real. It's tangible. We can fall in love with ourselves just as much as we can fall in love with anybody else, and it feels kind of the same. It's
And actually, you cannot love
Yes,
anybody else if you don't love yourself.
thank you.
And in our faith, there's a scripture that says, love thy neighbor as thyself.
Mm-hmm.
You can't even love your neighbor, not truly, if you're not loving yourself.
Yeah.
If you're torturing yourself, speaking negative things to yourself, not allowing yourself to know who you are based on your God given gifts, talents, purpose, and passion.
Oh, I would just interview you next time. I want to tell people what they could do next. Like,
Yes.
if you'd like to talk to me about the Freedom from Sugar program, it's easy to do. You can go to my website and go to the contact page. And right at the top of the contact page, you'll see a little button that you can select that says, "I would like to have a free." Uh, I call it the sugar sobriety exploratory call.
I love it.
And just send me a note, and I'll get in touch with you and we'll schedule it, and it'll be probably about half an hour, and it'll be to find out whether what I'm doing is something that would be valuable to you, whether I think and whether you think it would be. And I don't put pressure on you. It's very uh, I think you probably go away feeling like it was useful to you, and you're very welcome to request a call. I hope that you do.
Awesome. Awesome. And we are, we're winding down. I'm going to add this to the comments again so that people will be able to reach out to you. And let's see, why didn't that paste? Okay. All right, there we go. Okay. So go to www.lifeforcemarketing.com / you want to get that free sugar info.
If you
So
get to the main page and you look at the top in the menu, you'll see at the very top that it says Freedom from Sugar, and you can click on that link. Or this is a sub page that she's showing on the screen right now. That's the actual address of that sub page. So one way or the other, if you go to my website, you'll find it. And if you want to contact me, go to the contact button, which is also in the top of the menu. So it's just like, it's pretty easy to look around.
yes. Well, Mariah, I am just so honored that you are here with me today.
Thank you.
And I really appreciate all that you're doing and getting this message out about the damages caused by sugar. It is a matter of life or death.
Mhm. And the,
It
the last
truly
thing
is.
I want people to go away feeling like, okay, now I understand that it's even worse than I thought. But more importantly, I want you to go away feeling like, there's a way out.
Yes.
You can do it. You can change it. You can reduce or eliminate sugar. It's not as hard as you think, and I can help you.
And with that, we thank you. We praise God that you were here today.
Thank you.
And please check out Mariah. Go to her website and check her out and get some of her cards. They make great Christmas gifts as well. All right. Well, listen, thank you. God bless. And if you would hold on a minute, I'm going to close this out. We will see you all on Thursday. God bless. Bye-bye.
The Vera Tame